Good evening, everyone. I'm Liz Trentowski. I'm class of 96. I'm the president-elect of the Alumni Association Board. I'm very pleased to present tonight's Reverend Arthur S. Harvey CSC Award. This award, established in 2000, is conferred on alumni for outstanding accomplishments or achievements as practicing performing artists. If you were to look up the word prodigy in the dictionary, you might see the name of AnnaMaria Cardinalli in the dictionary. From a young age, AnnaMaria has been blessed with a unique musical talent and noted for her extraordinary achievement as a classical guitarist and operatic contralto. AnnaMaria learned the guitar at age 3 and made her solo recital debut at the Kennedy Center just 14 years old. This is the same year she finished high school. Since then, she has performed in renowned locations in Europe and across the United States, and she has more than a dozen albums to her credit. In AnnaMaria's hometown of Santa Fe, New Mexico, there is an image of the Virgin Mary known as La Conquistadora, or Our Lady of Conquering Love. It is the oldest continuously venerated image of Mary in the United States, having been brought here 400 years ago by Franciscan friars. As a child, AnnaMaria prayed to La Conquistadora every day for a successful career, and she promised to sing the Ave Maria at every shrine to the Virgin Mary that she encountered. It's not surprising she found her way to Notre Dame, given her great devotion to Our Lady. In 2004, AnnaMaria earned a doctoral degree from Notre Dame in theology, with a concentration in liturgical studies and an emphasis in Latino studies. And she did this at age 24. Guided by her Catholic faith, AnnaMaria has dedicated her life not only to musical performance, but also to service. After completing her degree at Notre Dame, AnnaMaria worked for the FBI and was later deployed with Joint Special Operations Command in Iraq. She subsequently transferred to Afghanistan, where her intelligence work on behalf of the Department of Defense exposed human rights abuses. Closer to home, where, like Conquistadora, she has deep roots as an 18th generation New Mexican, AnnaMaria remains an outspoken advocate for human rights, especially for the homeless and at-risk children. On behalf of the Alumni Association, please join me in welcoming and congratulating this year's Reverend Arthur S. Harvey CSC Award winner, AnnaMaria Cardinalli.
My goodness, I do not understand how she knew any of that. That is the most beautiful. You are the most beautiful speaker and the kindest soul for what you put. I'm going to be tearful because I didn't expect her to speak about La Conquistadora, and she knew my heart. That's crazy. I'm stunned, and I'm going to be a dork now. Good evening. I am going to talk. I'm going to, unfortunately, not be as gracious as you ducked out. I'll talk a little bit about the story because there's some things I want to share with you, just so you understand the depth of my gratitude to the university and to the people I have with me here tonight. I'm obviously overwhelmed, and I don't mean to be by this, but just let's hope that God be glorified by it and the story I get to tell. I love that I have the chance to explain this. First of all, I have my mom with me. My mom, everybody calls her Mama Giovanna. My mom, Giovanna. You're going to get to hear a little bit more about the depth of her awesomeness tonight. But the thing is that all the things that the Alumni Association has so kindly credited as like my achievements, obviously, very obviously, can't have happened without her. So they are equally and entirely her accomplishments, as is this award or this honor. So that's about Mom, who I'll talk more about. I'm also really lucky to have with me just the most brilliant and gracious friends from Notre Dame. I have Miss Marianne O'Shaughnessy, I have Professor Max Johnson and Nancy Liddell and Professor Timothy Matavina, and Professor Michael Driscoll, who directed my dissertation, wasn't able to be here tonight. But these are genuinely the preeminent names in their fields, and that's obviously why they teach here. And the fact that they've, taken the time to impact my life and the life of so many like me means everything. And it's through this little crowd of people at the table that Notre Dame came to impact my life. Mrs. O'Shaughnessy and her husband, Michael, brought me to visit Notre Dame for the first time when I was quite young. And they taught me all the words to the fight song on the way in the car and quizzed me like I had to have it right by the time we got here. And they lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I grew up. And like I say, don't let my Italian name, fool you. I am Italian, but on the Spanish side of my family, my family's been in Santa Fe since, our presence in Santa Fe predates actually the United States. So like that's home. And the O'Shaughnessy's were really avid crusaders for the greater inclusion of Hispanic students at the institution they loved, and really succeeded at making that happen. And that's where Professor Johnson and Professor Montevina came into the story, because they welcomed me and made a home for me in the liturgical studies program, and working with the Institute of Latino Studies went completely beyond the call of mere inclusion and crafted a course of study for me that allowed me to delve into the under-researched musical worship traditions of my own Northern New Mexico heritage. And it's interesting because that course of study later defined the course of my own life. You have to picture it to really understand what an act of generous acceptance this was. So not only was I a Hispanic student at the time when the university was just striving toward greater diversity, but as that amazing bio kindly mentioned, I did a lot of early graduation and early musical debuts and that kind of thing. So by the time I was interviewing for the doctoral program, I was 19 years old. And I'm very, very accustomed to Northern New Mexico, if you can picture that, not Northern Indiana. Plus, like, I'm on the autism spectrum. I'm personally on the autism spectrum. So it never occurred to me, like I just couldn't pick up on the fact that other doctoral students in theology did not wear their best Harley-Davidson t-shirts to class, or like arrive there on skateboards. Like I just didn't realize that. Surprisingly, that didn't affect the welcome I received or the depth of the friendships that I was able to forge with my classmates and my professors. Actually, before receiving this award, my greatest claim of impact on the university was that after my arrival, the Hesburgh Library had to actually post signs that said, "Please, we do not permit skateboarding between the stacks," like that. I was very proud of that for a very long time. And I actually even remember Father Hesburgh, because both of us occasionally would spend nights in the library after closing time. Him because of the volume of his work, and I because I actually for a while didn't have anywhere else to stay. I used to work down the hall here at the Morris Inn. I used to play guitar for the dinner guests, and I would be paid mostly in food, and I would, which was really good, much like our dinner tonight. I mean, it was amazing. But I would spend my every last cent commuting to Chicago to study voice with Janice Pantazellos, to pursue the musical career that you're so kindly honoring tonight. It was, and Father Hesburgh actually, he caught me in the library once practicing when I thought nobody was there, and he never turned me in for doing that. So that was really cool of him. It was really cool. It was also in the Hesburgh Library that I watched the news of the Twin Towers fall with my classmates. That moment that we'll all always remember. And it was then that the course of study that the university had crafted for me began to intersect with the real-time tragedies of the world. And it sort of has ever since. Researching the historical faith practices of my Northern New Mexican culture led me to an interest in medieval Spain, in that really unique time and place where the cultures that surrounded Islam and Judaism and Christianity found some common ground for peaceful interaction for a while, before descending into grave conflict once again. So those questions existed in my mind, and that particular academic interest attracted the attention of the FBI, where while I was still maintaining the outward demands of my musical career, I trained and worked as an intelligence analyst in the counterterrorism division. There, again, I don't know where she got this bio that she knew my entire life, but the FBI transferred me to the Joint Special Operations Command, and I deployed with them to Iraq, and after Iraq, I deployed to Afghanistan with the Marine Corps. I served on a human terrain team and on the very first female engagement team, which is just a lot of military speak for saying that my job had to do with close interaction with the local populations, like really getting to know the people village by village. And relying on my training at Notre Dame, my first instinct was to seek ways that art and culture would find us in our common humanity, would unite us. And instead, what I discovered was really how deeply the tragedies of our fallen world divide us. The thing is that I did, like was mentioned, I uncovered the trafficking and exploitation of children as a real underlying factor in our conflicts. And that outed me, then I got outed by WikiLeaks when I was writing this. And so like a lot of outed intelligence professionals, I wrote a book it's called Crossing the Wire. It turned out to be kind of influential because it resulted in some congressional investigations, and it resulted in some sanctions that the UN passed against Afghanistan and their misuse of child combatants and that kind of thing. And that's all it did. It didn't really help any life be improved or saved. It was something that was, useful on paper. But the fact that it didn't do more than that broke my heart in a deep way. And usually it's often with at least hard-headed people like me that it's through a broken heart that God finds his way in. That's what gives him his little point of entrance. So when I returned home, I discovered it got worse than that. The problems that I thought were overseas problems were actually problems that exist with incredible prevalence on our very own doorstep, the problem of human trafficking of children and sexual exploitation. It affects the lives of American children failed by the systems that should protect them, as well as the incredible influx of innocent children at our border near my home in Santa Fe. So the fact is that Notre Dame didn't form me to know this kind of thing and do nothing about it. Notre Dame formed me to act. It formed all of us to act. And it's actually my incredible earthly mom, Mama Giovanna, and my heavenly mom, represented by Our Lady's University, that formed me to do the same. So Mama Giovanna, and that's why I want to talk about her, she founded both a not-for-profit and also a canonically established association of the faithful that's on the path to the establishment of a society of apostolic life. It's called Familia Victricis, after Our Lady of Victory. I thought Notre Dame would like that. And, and back in 2017, my amazing spiritual director, Father Dennis Ging, who I also hoped would be here tonight, but he had to be overseas, permitted me the incredible, joyful honor of taking vows in that community. So now my natural mother is also my mother superior, which is like, I knew I got it right the first time, so I didn't see any need to change it. I was very, very lucky. So while we now work on the street with the homeless, most I would almost say, of whose tragedies have ultimately resulted in some way from exploitation, we have the goal of intervening sooner than that, if it's possible, in their lives. We have the goal of opening what is going to be a really incredible home for children at risk called Rancho Santa Catarina. And with the help of some amazing partners and some dear friends, also actually the Olympian and world champion Lanny Barnes and other people I'd like to acknowledge, we are unimaginably close to making this vision of a true home for these kids a reality. Resources from the physical construction of the facility, like the actual construction and the architecture and the labor, to world-class trauma therapy, to specialty medical care, to honestly every resource that you would want for a child to be able to heal from trauma and make and prepare for a really, really beautiful future are already in place for Rancho Santa Catarina. The final domino, the thing we need to happen for this to happen, is just the acquisition of the land to build this on. And honestly, that's the real reason I'm being so bold as to be so chatty as to tell you the story tonight, because I'm praying that you'll go to ranchosantacatarina.org. I believe that address is on the little bio card, and you can actually also access it through our homeless outreach, which is sosvan.org. And look at everything that's already waiting for those children that we'd like to welcome. And I'm asking you please to share it with anyone you know, because it's through opportunities like this, the times when I get to play music or speak to a group, that people learn about the project. And someone, even someone here tonight, might know somebody who God is calling to help us make that land purchase and be able to make all those dominoes fall in place for these kids. So I'll conclude on, again, this incredible award for the performing arts. if there's anything that Notre Dame taught me about music, it's that it's a means to expose unseen realities. In the liturgy, that means that music can communicate to us something about the otherwise just kind of unfathomable truth of Christ's real presence on the altar in the Blessed Sacrament. And I just really need to say that alone, friends, is the highest and best use of music, period. My bio, my amazing bio, I can't believe you read that, or wrote it. She talks about, or the card too, it talks about Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center or Kennedy Center, or singing for popes or kings or famous people, or wearing those hats that the Viking ladies wear in the operas. It talks about all that. None of that compares to the value of providing music for a single Mass. If in doing so I help everybody recognize the actual grandeur and the true royalty that's present there. In other aspects of my life, obviously, music has also served to expose unseen realities in a different way. Music's what allowed me to get to talk to you tonight, and it often allows me to reach others about the hidden suffering of these exploited children. It's also what's become my voice in seeking to aid them. So I can't thank you enough for opening your hearts to listen, nor can there's just not a way I can express my appreciation for this award. I've tried and I can't find the right words. My hope is that it reminds others that Notre Dame can be the foundation for their path as well, not regardless of, but actually because of their unique backgrounds, like it was for me. So thank you so much, my friends. I adore you. Thank you.